Alright, so here we have the heavily requested Talon tutorial. So yeah, hands in general are really hard to do. So that makes dragon hands even harder because they have claws. And I still suck at them, so I'll show you guys a couple tips that might help if you guys were to draw them. So let's draw this as the part of the arm. Let's say this is the arm that you're drawing. And we're not really going to focus on the top here. It looks a little off. I have to correct that. But we want to focus on the hand, or talon, whatever you want to call it. So let's say you already have your arm in place, drawn however you want it. I like to start my talons off as like a semicircle of sorts. However big you think it should be, but don't make it way too small or way too big. Like, just kind of compare it to your own hand, I guess, in comparison to your arm. And then kind of draw in marks like a cat paw. So you have that. And where you see each line is in the cat paw, add like claws, I guess. So it looks kind of like that. And then draw a circle around each claw. So now it looks like that, like brass knuckles basically. And so now you want to go over it. So you see the claw part, and then you just trace over the claw. Trace over the claw. Trace over the claw. And then the circles around, you trace around the circle, but only halfway you leave this part blank over here. You leave that blank. Trace over that. Trace over that. And now you just kind of draw in like a bottom part of a rectangle instead of finishing the circle. So now you have that. You can just connect the fingers up to here. And then finish off with your arm or whatever that was. I messed up on the arm. Yeah, okay, I can't draw arms today apparently. But yeah, that's a claw. That's a very, very simple, basic claw. If this is from the outside, you can pretend the thumb is on the other side, like around there. Yeah, so that's your basic one. Now let's try... So that's just your standing paw. Let's try one that's up in the air, kind of like a high five. Paw, claw, hand, like talon, whatever you want to call it. So let's draw like a weird oval-y shape, I guess, if you want to call it like that. Let's turn up this so you can see it better. So you've got your oval-y shape. And now just divide it in half. So, yeah, just add a thumb on one half depending on which hand, claw, talon we want it to be. So just kind of have it jut out like that. Not too much, not too little, just whatever feels right. Look at your own hands for reference if you need to. And then just kind of look at your own hand and do a rough guesstimate of how long the finger should be. So you start with your index, probably like that long maybe. Middle finger is always longer. The ring finger is a little bit longer than the index in some cases, and the pinky is around 2/3 the length of the ring. So you've got that now, which is the very, very basic. Just draw circles on the end of them again. And draw triangles on top of the circles. And now from the circles, kind of draw like an elbow. Not an elbow. An ellipse. I'm bad at talking today, sorry. So it's kind of like segmented. You want a bunch of caterpillars really coming out. 2 per finger though. After the first one, around a nail. And so you kind of have something like this. It looks very lumpy, but we're going to trim it down. Turn on the opacity on that. And just let's trace over it. So draw the claw. 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 Trace over your first, and then the second. And now thumbs have a line that sometimes goes into the palm. You can do that. Now for this one, trace over that, trace over that. Yeah. So you kind of trace over half the circles in there. You can leave one side straight though. You don't want it to look too thin, because I mean your fingers aren't sticks. Some people have stick fingers, I don't. Yeah. Just kind of go with that. Go over your circles, then add in those weird little lumps. Keep going. And then you can add a line down here, and then finish off any edges. And then clean it up a little bit. So that you have, let's erase the back. And hey, look, it doesn't look terrible. So now you have an arm. Alright, next let's do a claw that's holding something. So let's bring back the rigging. For holding something, let's say it's like a pole or something. Let's do a rough sketch of that. Roughly sketch in the pole you want the talon to be grasping. And then, let's say behind the pole there's that. Kind of like a rectangle that got two sides kind of blown up a little bit. And then close, whichever side you want the thumb to be on, draw in like a rough shape for that, for the thumb. And then draw on the wrist. Now you want to divide your claw into parts for the fingers. So just draw 3 lines in. Now you have the 4 fingers and then the thumb on the side. And now let's add claws to it. So triangle. This kind of bends inwards, so they don't really need claws. I want to bump this up a little bit. Really, really weak half circles. And then, yeah, that's your basic holding talon. You just kind of trace over it. As always, had like a rough circly shape around the claw to indicate a socket of sorts. And then just keep going. And then draw out your wrist. Then draw the pole. And it's holding. Okay, I might have to fix the adjustments on that. And then adjust as necessary based on finger size. So your pinky does not want to be super huge. Your ring finger can be a little bit thicker. Maybe this should not be as much of a tilt. And yeah. Whoops, wrong tool. Try to have all these in at the same place-ish. Now it's holding something. Okay, maybe the pole should be moved forward a little bit. Kind of sick, so I can't draw correctly. So, in general, drawing talons and hands and claws and stuff is pretty difficult, but you always have a reference, which is your own hands. Because it's pretty hard to draw if you don't have your own hands, so I'm pretty sure you have hands if you're watching this and trying to draw them. So if you ever need help with these, just do it yourself. Put your hand down on the table, and then draw how it looks, but just add claws to it. If you want to draw your hand facing up, just do that. Then grab something and then add claws to it to draw a claw talon holding something, I guess. Yeah. So let's go over the basic structure of a hand, because that tends to help a lot. So the palm is always like a square shape. And just look at your own for reference if you need to. So then the thumb just kind of jets out from the palm, so it's like an oval sticking out of it. Like that. Then you mark the fingers in, so you have like an oval-y shapes for them. Index, middle is taller, ring's taller than index but shorter than middle, and pinky is the shortest. So yeah, that's really your basic hand rig. You can if you know those shapes, you can kind of apply them anywhere else. Let's say it's the index, middle, ring. Pinky can be hidden in the background sometimes, behind the ring. And then the thumb. And then look, you drew a hand. Now you can just add claws to it and call it a talon and put it on dragon and stuff. So yeah, I hope this video helped with drawing, and ask for the next tutorial in the comments. And yeah, have a nice day. So apparently there's been a misunderstanding in the quitting Wings of Fire video where people thought I was going to quit drawing dragons in general. That's untrue. I still will draw dragons. I still like to draw dragons, so that's still happening, just not specifically the Wings of Fire 10 tribes or hybrids. So yeah, just clearing that up.